Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jasmine. I'm so happy you're here. This is my Emily Henry reading vlog. I have all of them. People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read are on my Kindle. I have Book Lovers, Happy Place, Funny Story, and then I bought Great Big Beautiful Life. So I'm going to be reading these over the course of the next 3 weeks. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but however long it takes me, I want to take you guys along with me, give you my thoughts along the way. And I don't know, I'm just really excited. I started reading People We Meet on Vacation yesterday, and I can already tell you I am loving it. I really relate to Poppy and her travel mentality and just her spunk, and I'm curious to know more about Alex and what happened between them. I think I'm like 20% of the way into it at this point. Okay, I'm 16% of the way into the book. I'm on chapter 7, and I like that it gives you like tidbits of the past, and then you have obviously present day chapters. Anyway, let's get to reading because it's like 10 o'clock at night and your girl needs to go to bed soon. So we'll probably only read for like a half hour, and then we'll probably go to bed. So hi guys. Hi guys, it's been a really long time since I turned the camera on for this reading vlog that I did. Hi.
Hi, we missed you.
Alright, so I finished reading People We Meet on Vacation today, and I understand the hype behind Emily Henry. Even after the first book, I do understand the hype. She writes banter, like it is such good banter. These characters, I wanted to be their friend. And it's funny because they're two best friends, and friends to lovers is my favorite romance trope. So reading about friends to lovers just makes me so happy, and the way that they care about each other through this whole book. Oh my god, I didn't even say their names. The characters' names are Alex and Poppy, and I resonated so much with Poppy. She was like such a free spirit. She doesn't really know what she wants except to travel because she likes making connections with people and she likes seeing new places. And then Alex is very like reserved and very, I would describe him as he is the right person at the right time always. He's always prepared. He's always there to help you. And it was just so cute to see the way that he was always right there for Poppy, and Poppy was always right there for him, even if they were like in completely different states. But they made this goal to go on a trip every year together, and I don't know, that's just like such friend goals. The way that it's told is like past and present. So you have the current summer that they're experiencing now, and then you have, I think it goes as far back as like 10 years, no, was it 12 years? I think it was 12 years. They started like 10 or 12 years prior to when they first met. And then you get to see all of the trips that they had leading up to 2 years prior to when things kind of like fell apart. And then you pick up obviously in the present tense of how they kind of re-find each other because they hadn't spoken for 2 years. I was sucked into it. I loved it within the first 2 chapters and I was hooked. But I would happily rate this a 4.5 out of 5. That's my present rating. After I read all of her books, I'm gonna rate them all in order to the ones that I like most to least. But it was so nice to read. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We are on, hold on. We are on Beach Read now, which I'm very excited about. But on to the next one, because we gotta keep this video moving. My one library book is due like 3 days ago, but I'm gonna hold on to it until I'm done with this video, because guess what? It's one of the last ones chronologically published, but it was the first one that I got from the library. So it's funny how timing works out like that. But anyway, I'm gonna read and I'll give you an update after I've started reading this, because I have no idea what this one's about. Bye. I did not film like any reading clips of me reading Beach Read. I think I read it in like 2 or 3 days. I'm not gonna lie, I know it's some people's favorite. I don't really like, it wasn't bad by any means. I liked January, I liked Gus, I liked their story, but I just didn't connect to it as much as I did in People We Meet on Vacation. And I actually mixed up the publication order. I thought People We Meet on Vacation was her first book, not Beach Read, so I read them in the wrong order. Not that it matters, because it's not like it's an interconnected series or anything, but I still like People We Meet on Vacation. Can you hear it? Literally torrential downpour outside. It has been shaking our apartment.
You know how the saying is, it's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring?
Yeah.
It's raining so hard, I think the old man is dead.
Well, anyway, perfect time to be talking about all of these summer reads, am I right? But next book on our, oh wait, I should probably tell you what my rating is. I think I would rate, I don't know if I just, towards the end of the book, I think I just got bored. Like, I don't know. I was invested at the beginning and I thought, oh my gosh, I really like this story because January finds out this, she finds out some not so great news about her dad after her dad passes away, and then that kind of leads her into the situation that she's in and puts her at the right place to re-meet Gus. But I don't know, like, I was invested in it until about 75% of the way through, and then I was just like ready for the book to be over. And I don't know why, I don't know where my head was at, but I just like, I think I just disconnected. So I would have to rate it like a 4.25, maybe a 4-star. I still like People We Meet on Vacation way better. But anyway, next book on the Emily Henry marathon is Book Lovers. I have no idea what this was about. I don't know the characters' names. I know nothing. I'm just gonna jump right into it and see how far we get into it. Before I start reading, I want to show you guys literally the torrential downpour that's happening outside, which is like perfect weather for reading. That on camera because that was loud as shit. Oh my god, bro, Alex, I was recording when that went off and that scared the shit out of me. I jumped, I about dropped my camera. Did you hear it? That's freaking nuts. Okay, well, I'm gonna go read now. But at the same time, I think she's gonna frustrate me because she's kind of bashing on, like, you know, overhyped generic romance tropes, basically like pinpointing Hallmark movie tropes. I don't know how to feel about it. This will be interesting. Hi guys, don't mind me, I look atrocious because I just did yoga out on my porch and I really only did I didn't really do much. Like, I was only out there for a half hour and I'm like sweating. It's gross. I need to take a shower, but I wanted to come on here and update you guys on Book Lovers. We are on chapter 3 and so far I am liking it. What's this girl's name again? I forget. Nora. Okay, so I've met both the characters, Nora and Charlie, and then I've also met Nora's sister, Libby, and right now we're on chapter 3 and they just arrived at their vacation destination. Like, her and her sister are going on a trip to take like a break, to take a breather from city life because it's based in New York, and she's this big like hotshot publisher or like book agent or something, and I think maybe Charlie's the publisher. They both work in book, but again, I haven't gotten much into it yet. Anyway, I'm gonna shower, then I'm coming back up here to start reading. And no, maybe I'll read a chapter first before I shower, because I'm afraid that if I don't, if I take a shower first, I'm not gonna want to read after. So I'm gonna read a chapter. 56, 16 pages. I can do that. Okay, I can do this. It'll be fine. Let's shut up and read, shall we? You know, that interaction definitely is relatable. With a sheepish smile, he steps aside, holding the door for me. I should say something, anything. Oh no, my fault, I was in the way. I'd even settle for a strangled hello, good sir. Unfortunately, it's not happening, so I cut my losses, force a smile, and slip past him through the door, hoping I look like I know where I am and have definitely come here on a purpose. That describes me whenever I see a cute guy out in public. I'm not even gonna lie with you. So thank you, I relate to you, Nora, in that situation. I just like the one thing about Emily Henry that I've noticed, the way she writes her characters, you only get it from the first person perspective of the girl. And the way that they think through things and describe the person or the setting or their internal dialogue is just so good. Like, I love it. It's so entertaining. Oh, this is funny. I love that. That was so funny. She sent him 99 cents and he sends her $1 back. Says, I'm a grown man, Nora. I can buy my own Bigfoot erotica. Thank you very much. In the context, it's funny. It probably makes 0 sense to you now, but in the context, it's hilarious. Hi guys, good morning. I just finished Book Lovers and I loved it. Like, honestly, I think this one was my favorite one so far. I'm so happy. I don't know, I was giddy the whole time I was reading it. I loved Charlie, okay? I loved him. I loved the whole, first impression was a bad impression, but then the more they got to know each other, the more you see just how similar they are and how like perfect they are together, and just like playing through this small town, almost Hallmarky type romance bucket list, like her and her sister put together. But then the way that this story played out had a different ending than I thought it would, and I actually really loved the way that it ended. I loved the way that, like, the overall theme of the plot that's very true to Nora and her character and like character development through the story. I loved how clean and put together it was at the end, and I loved every bit of it. I was invested the whole time. This one I have to rate a 5 out of 5 for me, which does top People We Meet on Vacation, because People We Meet on Vacation, which I might still alter a little bit because I really did like People We Meet on Vacation, but this one is my favorite. This one was so good. And next up is Happy Place. Don't know the characters, don't know what it's about. I should probably read the book jacket. And I like the friend dynamic. It's very interesting. And needless to say, I read like 60 pages yesterday in one sitting. But I'm still only on chapter 13, so. This is so frustrating. Like, they obviously still have feelings and they're playing this charade, and it's just bothersome because it's like, When are you both just gonna come clean? I wanna know. The only reason I'm like so invested in this is because I'm trying to figure out what the heck happened to them and why they're like no longer engaged. And okay guys, I finished Happy Place and I have to say Happy Place took the lead. It definitely took the lead. I read this book so quickly. I was invested in it very quickly. I think I started this book 2 days ago, maybe less than that, I don't even know. But yesterday I read probably almost 200 pages of this book alone. And then any chance we were in the car or there was downtime, like we were watching a TV show yesterday and anytime a commercial came on, I pulled the book out. I was obsessed with this. The premise of this story was very interesting, how they were engaged but then they weren't engaged when they went on their yearly friend vacation, which first off, the setting was fantastic. Being in Maine and during like a lobster fest, the friends all go there every year and it's a tradition that they've done since college, and the fact that they can still continue to make that like a tradition that they all continue to do even though their lives are changing. And in this book, like you don't really figure it out until the end what the other couples, which it's so great because this friend group is just like, it's a total of 6 of them, right? You have Wynn and Harriet, Sabrina, Cleo, Kimmy, and Parth. And just the dynamic of the group as a whole, the love that they have for each other and their inner workings is just so great to read about, because I've never truly experienced a friendship like that. And reading about friendships like this gives me hope that, you know, obviously you're pulling from somewhere. You've experienced this at some point, but it's just the beautiful friendship that almost feels like a family. And they kind of are a family, like they're a found family. They chose that family. And the way that Wynn loves Harriet and Harriet still loves Wynn, even though they had poor communication and like they had a big misunderstanding, which is the whole reason why their engagement kind of fell apart. This week that they're together in like forced proximity, they work through some of those issues. And I don't know, just the way that Emily Henry wrote this book was just, it felt great. It felt like I was on a friend vacation and like I already miss them. I don't know, I love when I can connect to characters like that. So it wasn't just the two, obviously you had the main 2 characters, but then you got to see them develop, like you got to see the story develop through the relationships with the other friends in the story. And I loved how it flipped back and forth between real life, which was present day, and then you had her going to her happy place, and there were various scenarios throughout the years of her different happy places. I liked this book a lot. I think this book definitely takes the rank over People We Meet on Vacation, but all of Emily Henry's books are fantastic. I love them so far. We have 2 books to go. We have Funny Story and Great Big Beautiful Life. I've been looking forward to Funny Story for a while now, so I am excited. So we're gonna start that, and obviously I'll let you guys know my thoughts as we go. Another update. I finished reading Funny Story last night and I think this one's my favorite. Like I genuinely think that Miles and oh my goodness. I think Miles was my favorite male character man across all of the books. I think Miles takes the cake. I really like Daphne. I actually understand where she's coming from. Like, I understand her apprehension to make friends. I understand her kind of doing this mass reflection on her life after her engagement falls apart and realizing how much of her life was kind of built around this person she thought she was going to spend the rest of her life with, and how kind of reliant she was on this person and how much she lost herself in the process. And I just related to that because when I got out of my long-term relationship a couple years ago, that's how I felt. Like reading it, I was like, wow, I really feel for her. Like I really relate to her character. I think I just related to her character the most, just overall with like some of her families, that like the experiences that she has with her family members and the relationships that she has with her parents, and then the friendships and like struggling to kind of make friends, but then she makes a really good friend with a lady that she works with at the library. And I just loved the whole cast of characters. Like I liked the extra characters in this. Again, I just think that the way that Miles and Daphne interacted with each other, and obviously the way that their story builds throughout this book, is just beautiful. Like I loved reading this. I thought about it every time I put it down. And don't get me wrong, Happy Place, definitely up there, but I think this one is top tier. I think this one rates my favorite, or ranks as my favorite, which I know, that's like crazy. And it's finally time, guys. That means we are finally on the last Emily Henry book, Great Big Beautiful Life. I'm kind of nervous. This one, I will say, is the one that I'm the most nervous to read because of such the difference in opinion as to whether people liked this book or didn't like this book. I've heard people say that the relationship aspect of this book, like the romance aspect of this book, was very rushed and kind of like an afterthought, and they didn't connect to it, and then they would get bored with like the actual storyline of the character that the people were interviewing. So I'm a little intrigued. I'm also a little nervous, but I have high hopes because I'm usually not super hard on books. Anyway, we'll just see how this turns out, but I am excited. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what I think. I wanted to come on here and just give you guys an update. I've been reading a lot off camera. I like Alice. Alice is a very peppy person. It's a grumpy sunshine. Alice is the sunshine. Hayden is a bit more reserved and grumpy and standoffish. And he's in a very competitive mindset at this point in time. So I'm intrigued to see how this breaks down a little bit. Those are my thoughts so far. Don't really have many, but that's what I got so far. So there's so much like mystery involving Margaret and whether or not she's telling them the full truth or any truth at all, and they're both kind of on to the fact that she's kind of probably most likely not telling them the truth, but they don't know what she's lying about or what she's withholding from them. And I think that's the part that's like, I just want to know the story because I want to know what this is. It's intriguing to the mystery side of my brain that's like, I'm trying to solve this puzzle and I want to figure it out, but yeah, I don't know. There's also the romance part of me that's like, no, I want to know more about Hayden. I want to know more about Alice. I want their relationship to be a thing. But it's obviously just going to be thrown together haphazardly. I already know that. I've already anticipated that. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Half hour reading, maybe an hour. I don't really know how long I've been reading. I'm actually really enjoying this book. The more I read it, the more I'm enjoying it, the more I'm understanding the purpose of the book, and I think the overall bigger picture as to why she wrote the book the way she did, which is nice. And I just came across my favorite, I think my favorite part of the whole book so far. I'm like halfway through the book, so I don't really know if that's saying much, but it's a conversation between Alice and Hayden, and they're talking about caring about what people think in terms of like your work and what you do. And I liked what he was saying in this, so I'm going to read a little bit of it to you. It's going to be a little bit out of context, but I'm 33. Why do I care? Everyone cares, he says. I give him a look. Fine, he says, the vast majority of people care. When do you think you stop? I ask. When you're 40? When they die? I shoot him a teasing look. When you win a Pulitzer? He scoffs quietly. No, not then, because then suddenly they're incredibly proud, but they're proud of the accomplishment, not of the work. So you feel like you have to keep accomplishing instead of just creating. It affirms the idea that the value in what you do is how people react to it and not just in the making of it. I've written stuff I'm really proud of that hardly anybody reads. I've written stuff I'm proud of that no one liked. That doesn't mean it didn't deserve to be written. And now they refer to, he jumps, and he's in reference to It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life was a box office flop in its time. If everyone who worked on that movie had known, could see how things were going to pan out in the short term, would they have even bothered to make it? And then the world would have lost out on something beautiful. Just because something doesn't make money or win awards doesn't mean it doesn't have value or it doesn't deserve to exist. The job is alchemy. You take a hunk of rock and you try to turn it into gold, and the gold isn't even really the point. It's permanence. Not like having your name on the side of an airplane or a skyscraper, but bringing something intangible into the world that can live on without you. Something bigger than the person who made it, and even then, the goal is secondary to the process. The process is for us. It changes us in ways that can't be measured. I like that little bit, that conversation right there. I feel like it's kind of the whole point of why creative people are creative and why they do what they do. You're not doing it for the praise. You're not doing it for the success, although yes, we want that, obviously. Like, we want to be able to live off of what we enjoy doing, so success kind of has to come at some point for that to happen for us. But ultimately, when you set a goal, it's not about actually achieving the goal, it's about the process to get there. And I don't know, it just like resonated with me, and I wanted to share that with you guys. I think it's completely changed my perspective of the book and how I feel about this book, and changed my perspective on Hayden. Also, we learned some more about Margaret, and I'm really actually quite enjoying Margaret's story. I'm not getting bored by it. I think it's very interesting to learn more and more about why she is the way she is now and how she got to that point. But you start all the way at the beginning, and at first you're like, how does this actually connect to Margaret and her story and who she is? But then it starts to come together, and the pieces are being put together in this like seamless, beautiful puzzle of how people's lives and the choices that they make even before you're ever born will kind of affect the way that your life continues once you are born. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but honestly, I think this is gonna be I think I'm gonna like this book a lot more than I originally thought I was going to. So anyway, good morning guys. The time has come. I have finished A Great Big Beautiful Life, and I have some thoughts. I genuinely was terrified that I was not gonna like this book, and I can happily say I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought, and I'm gonna rate it higher than I thought. Like, I thought I was gonna rate this maybe like a 3.5, but I think it's a solid 4. Like, I think it's a solid 4-star book for me. And I even tabbed things, which this is the first time I've ever underlined or tabbed a book. I actually picked up a lot more of the insights that she was dropping throughout the story, and I noticed them more like in the later chapters than I did at the beginning of the book, because I think at the beginning of the book she was really laying the groundwork as to why the two authors were there. Who is this Margaret? Why do you want to know her story? Why are you supposed to care? And then something that I really noticed after I finished reading this book was the similarity of Alice and Hayden, who are the two main characters, and Margaret and her relationship with Cosmo. The similarities, while still being different and in their own right, there was a lot of similarities in their relationship structure and kind of the timeline of things happening. And I can't say too much because I don't want to spoil the book if you haven't read it, but the ending, especially like the last chapter, and the thoughts that Alice has with how her life turned out is very similar to a reflection that Margaret made about her own life. And I just liked it kind of felt like a full circle moment. Like, reading this book, when I got to the end, I felt satisfied because I got all the answers that I needed about Margaret's story, and it was a happy ending for Hayden and Alice. And although a lot of people said their relationship felt very rushed, I think that was the point, because it was supposed to mirror Cosmo and Margaret's relationship, obviously in a different setting, in a different environment. It didn't obviously happen in the same way, but there were a lot of similarities that you can pick up on throughout the book. And it was beautifully written, as all Emily Henry books are. I didn't really have any issues. I thought the pace of the book was actually really good, and the big ending, the big reveal, the final reveal for Margaret and her story. But I will say I liked the big reveal, and I thought it made so much sense with the story. And I don't know, I don't think the relationship was too rushed once you got to the end of the book and you saw like the full circle kind of wrapping up with a big bow at the end. It made sense to me why their relationship flowed the way that it did and why the story of Margaret flowed the way that it did. And I don't think that any part was too slow. I think this book, to be honest with you, I think this book is kind of just below beach read or potentially tied with beach read. And then it's book lovers, then it's people we meet on vacation, and then I think Happy Place and Funny Story are tied for my top 2. I think that's my final ranking for all of my Emily Henry books that I read. I just think the books were really good. All of them were really good. All of them I really enjoyed. I have my favorite characters. Like, it was just a good time. I thoroughly enjoyed this reading challenge. I thoroughly enjoyed reading Emily Henry books, and I'm a new fan of Emily Henry. Just the way that she writes characters and the way that she writes her storylines, they flow nicely. Her characters are enjoyable to read. It's a good time. So if you haven't read any of these Emily Henry books, I definitely recommend you do. I'm sure most of you have probably read Emily Henry already, but that's my thoughts. Those are my ratings. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.